Hello and welcome to Egomonk Presence, Leading with Women. Today we are joined by Kannada IPS officer Roopa Divakar Moudgil. She is currently the Inspector General of Police in Bangalore, Karnataka, and is the first female in the state to be so. A recipient of the President's Police Medal, she is also a whistleblower who exposed the Shashikala Bribegate scandal. She has in her career been transferred over 40 times, but it has never deterred her from exposing deep-seated corruption in the highest ranks. Just to set some context, if you could just tell our audience, how did your journey as a police officer start?
The seeds for this dream was, they were laid down when I was in third standard, when I was about 8 years old. It so happened that one day the class teacher said to all of us, "What do you all want to become when you grow up? Don't tell me now, you go to your parents and then ask them, then get back to me tomorrow." So when I went home, my mother said I have to be a doctor, but somehow I didn't like it. And then I asked my father, then he said, he explained to me there's something called IAS, IPS exam and what one becomes deputy commissioner or district magistrate and SP, superintendent of police and so on. He explained duties. Whatever I could understand at that age, I somehow grasped that it has leadership qualities, a leadership role, and somewhere it has a lot of public interaction, and where you can directly do something to the public. So that somehow really interested me, and I went back to the class, and when I said that, when I gave that answer, the teacher made everyone applaud. I was the only one who gave that answer. And in Karnataka, it's only the numbers who are getting, the numbers are increasing nowadays. But those days, these services, IAS, IPS, they were totally unheard of. So, so that made me feel special. That there is something special about this job when Madam made everybody applaud.
Did you ever enter the profession with this preconceived notion that you would be treated differently because of your gender? Or did anybody ever try to warn you before entering?
No, I had absolutely no idea of that, because to my parents, we are only two daughters. And I have never been exposed to any kind of discrimination. Like my friends used to tell me in college, oh, my parents allow my brother to do this, go here and there, they don't allow me and such things. Those things were never experienced by me. At IPS training, we were told that you are officers first and then ladies. So that is how we were trained throughout for 10 months. But only when I came to the field, we were made to feel time and again that we are women, and there is no gender, whatever quota or whatever, women quota, anything in IPS or IAS. So it's all general stream. So, but the bias, yes, it definitely got exposed when I started working.
So, even though you mentioned that you were told that you were officers first, statistically only 7.9% of the police force are women. So there are obviously certain underlying fundamental factors which are leading to lesser females opting for this profession. What are your insights on these?
Generally, the police service being male dominated, and the uniform itself is, you have to wear the pant and shirts, which is a male attire. So there is always this, say, in your home, people will say, the elders will say, why do you want to get into that? It's something which men do. Starting from the attire and every other thing, it's all male thing in the department. That is the first thing it is, and it's not at all feminine. It's not something that women can do. There are some traditionally some roles like, being air hostess or receptionist at the hotel, telephone operator. People think that women being maybe having good voice or being hospitable in nature, caring and so on, they think they are good for these kind of jobs like nurses, receptionists, air hostesses and so on, but not to a male-dominated police work where it requires a lot of moving around, dealing with the deadly criminals and all. But this is just it's a wrong notion. It's not at all true. Women are mentally strong and they have proved their mettle. That is definitely one of the reasons why women are not encouraged to take up this job, police job. But then there is a difference when it comes to IPS. The women who come to IPS, are not the women who particularly applied for police job, if you understand. They were the ones who wrote the general civil services exam, and out of that, probably IPS was one of their choices. So, but I'm happy that more women nowadays are putting their choice as IPS. Earlier, they weren't putting this as their choice. The first IPS officer, the lady IPS officer, was Mrs. Kiran Bedi. And then Kanchan Bhattacharya ji, who recently expired, madam. So it's been increasing very encouragingly. The number of women coming into IPS is also increasing, which is a good thing.
But what have been your personal experiences? Because you did mention that the gender biases were exposed once you went out to the field. What actually happened, and how did you engage with a dominantly men's world?
When I joined this foundation course, which is a common training program that goes on for 3.5 months in Mussoorie, where all services they mingle and they do the foundation course. That was prior to the specific police training that started in National Police Academy, Hyderabad. Before that, in Mussoorie, this happened. We were all standing, and one of my, you can say, colleagues, one of the other probationers who was also getting training along with me, he just mentioned in a group, why you women have chosen IPS? What do you think you can do here? So, I was surprised at the bias in the mind of a man who passed this difficult competitive exam where you are interviewed for your progressive thinking, broad-mindedness, and whatnot. I was surprised. Anyway, I answered him. I retorted, what have you men achieved all these years? I retorted. But that gave me, a peep into the man's mind, howsoever, higher position they may be in. And then every time a woman officer gets posted, people who are in the deciding positions, who post them there, here and there, they will think not once, twice, but multiple times to, they think whether whether it's feasible to post that woman there, whether she'll be able to handle, manage, and so on. See, if everything goes by straight law of the book of law, if everybody goes by a book of law, there is nothing else needed to manage or adjust and all, These things come in when there are a lot of vested interests, and when people want to get done their own job in some way. So there they find it easier for work to be got done from a male if he occupies that chair rather than a woman. They find it more easier to tell them, probably more comfortable. That is also a reason why women are kept out of very important positions, because there it involves a lot of vested interests.
You are the Inspector General of Police, and even after all the attempted setbacks to your career, you have been consistent and have reached the post of Inspector General of Police. Are women in this profession facing a lot of obstacles when it comes to gaining ranks and actually breaking the glass ceiling?
Not really. They'll get the promotion. Say, for example, I'm IGP. Get that promotion, you become IGP. But then in IGP stage, for example, there'll be some posts which are more important than others. The women may not get those posts because of certain limitations I cited earlier. They may not get that, but you will still be IGP. You will get that rank, and you will get the same salary and all that. That is there. Yeah.
As somebody who has been transferred so many times and has been in the spotlight for highlighting corruption in the highest of ranks, as I said in my introduction, is it worse for a woman whistleblower, and how was it like for you? What got you through?
As I said, last few years, some changes have come in. For example, in performance appraisal, we are being told in performance. Earlier, it used to be a secret. So some boss who didn't like you could have spoiled your career without your knowledge, because it was a secret note. But now it is more of an appraisal. It's for our benefit. It will be disclosed, so we get to know what is wrong and what is not. And there again, if you find that the ranking or the scores given is not proper, we can appeal. We can say, no, I had done this much work and I feel it is unfair, and so on. So it becomes more of a learning experience. That is good. And then, but they are, I think, thinking of a lot of things, but right now, nothing as of now, nothing concrete. There is definitely a need to, distinguish, if I may say so, I don't know, it might be offensive, but horses, donkeys, all put together is not good. There must be something, and the corruption cases on people, on officers, I mean, it really takes a very long time to get investigated, and IPS lot being quite powerful, many a time charges against the top brass, that is IPS, don't get investigated. They get delayed. The person will enjoy all perks and retire with all benefits, but so when something immediate is not done, some punishment is not given, immediate punishment doesn't follow for some wrongdoing, then what signal does it send that everything is okay? Being a woman whistleblower, there was no threat to me, and that I must accept. There was really no threat. There were some kind of things written on Facebook or Twitter, but I don't consider them as threats. But as it is, women suffer from networking. They don't have real. I mean, there might be some women officers who are very good at networking, but there are average and large number of them suffer from this. And then when a woman becomes a whistleblower, I think it hurts more. She's even more relegated to the background, and it happens to men also, men whistleblowers also. But with a woman, I think the effect is even more. Maybe sometime the man may be accepted into the fold, but the woman is like kind of kept like an outcast. I mean, usko dur rakho, matlab usko, let's not take her. Okay, give her this or that, where she won't be able to do much later. Not many more such things. Something like that. The common man knows, because he suffers it every time, any brutality or corruption. So he knows when anybody blows the whistle, that he or she becomes the hero for them. That huge public support was there, and it kept me going. And even now it keeps me going. But system reacts very differently than the general public.
As a gold medalist in psychology, what do you think are the psychological attributes which are required in women for them to be able to stand strong against the kind of submissiveness that is expected from them?
Such restrictions lead to different kind of reactions in different women. A woman who has always grown up to be timid, submissive, and always say yes to elders, irrespective of what they say is right or wrong, she will behave, she'll become more withdrawn, and she'll just go into the cocoon and probably become more submissive. I think it's all, personality dependent, how the woman will react. For me, many people ask where the courage comes from. But I think one thing is, courage, I believe, is a habit. If you act courageously in one, you will naturally gain guts to act similarly in the other situation. So it is a habit, according to me. But then there is something called trait also. See, basically, I've been a very straightforward person. So I say things without mincing words. So when you do that, there are times when I've said unpleasant things, that also requires courage, because then you will expect some backlash from the person who's hearing it. As they say, apriyasya cha pathyasya vakta shrota cha durlabha, means people who speak unpleasant truth, and neither they are more, whether they are those who tell that or who want to listen to such things. You don't find such people more in number. So I think the courage came from that. And it's not one of a thing. When I gave this jail report also, it was not just one of its kind, which just suddenly I did. If you see my career, I have been doing it. Maybe it wasn't highlighted because I was posted in official places, but I have been taking independent decisions as per law, where I resisted certain pressures, influences, and still went ahead with it. So, and even after that, after jail thing also I have done, but there may be certain chota mota in my own like setup. And because that jail thing involved a very powerful politician who was slated to become chief minister of the state, it became big. But otherwise, my nature, my style of work has been the same.